Although there's a lot of issues going on right now, I kind of want to talk about the misconceptions of nuclear energy. And you may be asking, why? Well, first off, why not? And then second off, I work in a lab that deals with radioisotopes, which are elements that are considered radioactive on the periodic table. And then the isotope form is just the amount of neutrons that they have in their nucleus. They can have different kinds. So that's why it's a relevant topic to me. Plus, I also just care about like energy waste and reducing it, because like we already have too much waste in this world, so why not try to reduce the amount of waste we produce? Also, if you see me looking up in like the corner, I do have notes because I do actually have cited sources that I'm using. I'm not just making this stuff off the top of my head. But a lot of people hear the term nuclear energy and they think, oh no, here comes another Chernobyl, which is just not the case, because Chernobyl was, first off, mainly a user error. It was like just unfortunately poorly trained people, and then also just a poorly produced like design. So hopefully we've learned from that and won't repeat it. Mind you, we do have required training to work in nuclear and like radioactive or like radiation labs now. You have to do training in order to work with that type of stuff nowadays, which probably wasn't the case back then, just by the way. But back to the main topic and not Chernobyl, because that is not what I'm here to talk about. So what is nuclear energy? Well, nuclear energy comes from the nucleus of the atoms, and it's the release of energy from that by either fission, which is the splitting of nuclei, or fusion, which is the fusing of nuclei. Mainly the type of like energy that we produce in our day-to-day life that comes from nuclear energy is from fission, just by the way. And the fission creates energy by when the nuclei are separated, it releases energy in the form of heat, and then also it releases radiation. Now, this is where people get scared because they hear the term radiation. I mean, it's kind of valid that people are scared of just like, pardon, hearing the term like radiation, because when they think that, they just think that radiation is gonna like come and attack them and turn them into like, I don't know, Mr. Babinski, or make them grow an extra eye or something. But that's not gonna happen. In fact, the amount of radiation released from nuclear power plants is only about 0.005% of the average radiation that a person receives annually. This is roughly similar to how much radiation you get from eating one banana, just by the way. Personally, I don't like bananas, and so I don't eat them. So am I better than you because I'm not getting that radiation? Well, yes, but that's not the point. So the most commonly used type of energy is like from coal, like fossil fuels and that type of stuff. And coal, you actually get 100 times that amount of radiation versus like the nuclear fuel. And it's also less green to use coal than nuclear energy, because nuclear energy actually doesn't emit greenhouse gases, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. Nuclear energy is considered green because it doesn't produce like the greenhouse gases I was just saying, sorry, literally 3 seconds ago, but also because most of the time the stuff that it produces can just be like recycled and make more energy off of it, like off the isotopes and radioactive material that's already in the system. Like you can just reuse that. And then the greenhouse gases, it doesn't emit harmful gases, it releases more of like a like steam, which is just what we kind of breathe in anyways, so like I think we're fine. This I found actually kind of interesting. So nuclear power plants, I mean, if you've ever seen one, you know how they kind of take up like not that much space. It kind of takes up like a normal amount of space compared to other buildings. But this is kind of funny. One single wind turbine for like wind energy only produces about 2.3 megawatts of energy. In order for wind energy to produce the same amount of energy as a nuclear power plant, which is about 1,000 megawatts and takes up 1 square mile for a nuclear power plant, you would need 300 square miles of wind turbines. That's a lot of land that could be used for like, I don't know, farmland to help with like the starvation in our country. I don't know. That's a whole separate issue though. I guess like the last issue I want to talk about is just why people are scared of like nuclear energy and think it's dangerous. It's just because they're like, oh my god, it's gonna blow up. Like, no, we're so cooked. No. Actually, that's only occurred, I think, let's see. No member of the public, this is an actual quote, just by the way, no member of the public has ever been injured or killed in the entire 50-year history of commercial nuclear power in the US. I can't speak for other countries, but I would assume it's roughly the same. In fact, recent studies have shown that it is safer to work in a nuclear power plant than an office. Kind of funny. Personally, I'm more scared of like firework places blowing up randomly. That's a personal, just like random irrational fear I have. But yeah, don't be scared of nuclear fuel because it actually could help our environment. Thank you.